Welcome back to Rated Radio with your hosts, Rayburn Alexander and Shane Wyndham. Shane, catch everyone up on your world.
Well, my week was a shit show, and now I've got a head cold. But what's ultimately going to make this week stand out for me is the music, and that's saying something. So let's start this season off on the right foot, because I'm still happy to have this show to look forward to. If I know you, and you'd rather I didn't talk about you on air, just drop me a line. I'm here to build people up, but I think the way I tease isn't easily understood as playful, and I can see how that might rub folks the wrong way when they aren't here to speak for themselves. It's also worth pointing out that I share things the way I remember them, but don't kid myself about how I might not be recalling correctly. I'm a memory-damaged epileptic, and memory's fallible to begin with. Additionally, it's really easy to get things wrong or not say things right when you're sitting in front of a microphone, juggling notes, managing conversations, checking show rules and structure, all while worrying about sound quality. I want this to be a positive experience for listeners, so I really am sorry if I've hurt anyone's feelings with it. You're not apt to hear me talk about people who I think aren't great, but I fully understand if you're uncomfortable with your name coming out of my mouth. I also try to verbalize the feedback we receive on behalf of those listening, again, to make people feel included and heard, but that's no guarantee I'll agree with the feedback. In fact, I'll be honest if we don't agree. As far as the music goes, please remember that this is all just opinion, and if you're upset or insulted by my including you, let me know. I'll leave you out. Easy peasy. Anyway, is there anything you want to share with the world, Rayburn?
Yeah. Well, this past week I celebrated both my 29th birthday and my 14-year anniversary, and as an early birthday present, my employers thought it best to lay me off due to COVID-related budget cuts. So with that being said, I will be fine, but thanks again, 2020, for being nothing short than the shit show of a dumpster fire you truly are.
So good week all around.
Yeah. The thing that I looked forward to the most definitely was the music, and boy, did I have a lot of time to cover it. So, joining us today is the man, the myth, the dude, my father, James Eric. Dad?
Yes, ma'am.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I sound like I'm here to pick everybody up today.
Maybe so. Is there anything going on in your world this past week that you want to share?
Not much. Typical. Getting older. Feeling it.
All right.
Well, been looking forward to this for a long time. All my fans out there, they better be listening. I know I got a big fan base. And both of y'all better be on the radio. Y'all better have it tuned up. So,
All
anyway,
right.
I'm ready to get after it.
Enough about us. Roll the intro. Shane, we both have a gift from my dad.
Yes, we do.
If you would like to start,
Okay.
we'll give him his gift.
So I picked 5 songs that remind me of you.
All right, then. This ought to be interesting.
Okay, Rayburn went with 10, so we'll give you 2 every time.
Got it.
My first pick was Mule Skinner Blues by the Fendermen. It's time this song had better representation than what I've afforded it in the past. So from now on, this song will bring thoughts of your fun-loving nature when played. Whether it's unwinding on a cabin trip, pool party cookouts in your backyard, or mudding like a madman on some back roads, thanks for making clear to me on a consistent basis that life doesn't have to be so fucking serious all the time.
You're welcome.
What you got, Rayburn?
My first song is Old Man by Neil Young. I have often said that this song reminds me of you, not only because you're old as dirt, at least now.
Yeah, I'm getting dusty.
But this is a song that just makes me feel like I get told a lot I'm a lot like you. So this is kind of my song that I know, it's a revelation. I'm a lot like you.
You're supposed to be.
Tell Mom that. Anyway.
Nope.
This is just a song.
I still see a mix. I'll throw that in there.
Yeah.
Anyway, Old Man by Neil Young, you know why.
Thank you.
I don't have to say it.
Yes, ma'am. You ain't got to get emotional on me.
But my next song is Blowjob Betty by Too Short.
Okay, see, I was about to say I was waiting on tears.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Blowjob
cry.
Betty.
Blowjob Betty by Too Short.
Yeah.
This seems to be, I mean, I know you sang a lot of Ice-T and, would do verses and stuff. This is the one that I remember. It was Blowjob Betty by Too Short. I was entirely too young. You should not have been playing this song, but you played it and you enjoyed it. And
Yes, I
I know
did.
every verse now.
Yes, I hear that a lot. You're not the only one that was corrupted by my musical influence back in the day.
I'm sure.
You seem perfectly well adjusted, so
Oh, he called me
no
well
need
adjusted.
no need to knock his parenting.
I'm not knocking his parenting.
Life does go on.
Yeah.
What is your next pick, Shane?
My next one is Jam On It by Nucleus. I was afforded a lot of musical cred in school because I knew joints like this ahead of my peers. Eric was usually responsible for my knowing those songs, though. I also don't think I'd have been anywhere near as well liked if not for cool, crazy Uncle Eric. Go ahead, Ray.
Funny thing about that song, real quick, is, when a certain radio station was just coming on the air in Dallas-Fort Worth, they played that song 24 hours a day for at least a week before they actually came on air. And I'm not going to give the radio station out, but
Yeah, let's not give them clout.
if you're old enough to know that, you know who I'm talking about. But yeah, that kind of ran in my head. So yeah, that's obvious.
Makes some sense then.
Yes, it does.
My next pick is Atomic Punk by Van Halen. I know we're not supposed to typically say lyrics, but if I hear one more time,
At night I walk the stinking streets with the crazies on my block.
oh, is it that? Nobody walks these streets at night but me, the Atomic Punk.
Your
Yes.
pick. I don't know.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's the only part that you'll sing in that song that I always remember. So you are the Atomic Punk in
All
my
right.
eyes.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Next pick, Mom might be a little pissed off about, but she can get over it. Angry All the Time by Tim McGraw.
Yeah, she'll be fine with it.
My dad likes to sing this to my mom, and it not only does my mom just has a massive distaste for country.
Yes, she does.
Yeah, she does. But this pisses her off on a number of levels. But it's a sweet song, so I always remember you singing it.
Yes, I have quite often.
Yes, I actually just listened to it
Especially
the other
just to
day.
piss her off sometimes.
Yep.
And the lesson is one worth reminding people of. So,
Yeah. Yeah, my
Cool.
dad intentionally does things to
Cool.
piss people off.
third
Shane?
pick is Tomorrow by Ozzy Osbourne. While not the only Ozzy song that brings you to mind, Eric, this one sticks out like a sore thumb. We were at the trailer waiting on everyone else to get back from who the hell even knows where. I don't even remember what was going on, but I showed you some Pumpkins B-side I was obsessed with. Then you wanted me to listen to this song. The reason it stands out is because it was the first song I ever remember you showing me that you didn't lip sync while it was playing. And it felt like you were starting to think of me as an adult because you've done that far less since that time. So Tomorrow by Ozzy Osbourne. That's the one.
Sweet.
Oh my God, you are boosting our levels so high
He's
right
good.
now. My next choice is Super Beast by Rob Zombie. We were just talking about this yesterday. My dad would take us as kids driving out in the cornfields and out in the country, blaring this with the windows rolled down, screaming at the top of his lungs how we were going to go hunt the moondog. My brother bawled his eyes out and screamed like a girl the entire way. If we weren't searching for moondog, we were storm chasing. So this song always reminds me of him because he incessantly loved to listen to Rob Zombie while driving out in the country with no headlights and going, ah.
That's Children of the Corn, by
I
the
know
way.
that.
Rob Zombie got me through some difficult times,
I'm sure he did.
along with Guns N' Roses. Those two right there helped me at
You
a
seem-
critical stage in my life.
You seem like you were having a difficult time tormenting your children in the country.
But that being said, the concert you and I shared together was something else with him and Marilyn Manson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you forgot about that.
No, I didn't.
But anyway, I blared a lot of Rob Zombie.
Mhm.
So y'all were forced to
Listen to it.
listen to it,
Thanks.
suffer.
It's a good gift.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
My next pick is going to be Lucky by Britney Spears. We've
Okay.
mentioned our Lucky mix-up in a past episode. I thought Shane was talking about one Lucky song. he was actually talking about another Lucky song. This is the Lucky song I was talking about.
Very curious to see how this ties into your dad.
My dad sings this song constantly. He actually really enjoys this song.
Evidently, I haven't sang it enough around him, but yes, I do.
Okay. I did not know that.
He acts out the first portion of the song. Knocking on the door, cry, cry, cry. Yeah, it's a whole production. I almost chose Applause by Lady Gaga, but that's a song for Alyssa. Lucky is for me, and I will cherish it and its hand motions for the rest of my life.
That's good stuff.
Shane?
Next up for me is Forever Young by Alphaville. This is one of the songs played at the dance in Napoleon Dynamite. After many years of losing my uncle to Carl Childers, essentially, I remember thinking, oh, thank God, when you were hooked on Napoleon Dynamite. Anyway, the song really speaks to the eternal child in you, thoughtful, full of wonder, and I think about you every time I hear it.
That's cool.
All
I
right.
still live in Neverland, though.
All right, my last pick here was Don't Ask Me How I Know by Bobby Pinson. It's easy to kid you, Eric, for your eccentric nature, but it deserves pointing out that I've taken a great deal of valuable life lessons away from you. This song gives an idea of what I'm talking about. I promise you, almost every time I've failed taking your advice when it comes to love, money, coping, etc., it's bitten me in the ass. From my point of view, there's no better kind of influence that a person could be. And thanks for never saying, I told you so, when I know you probably wanted to.
You gonna make a guy tear up here this morning.
Lord.
Oh, man.
Nobody's going to know what you actually sound like.
Those that know me know what I sound like.
Okay, that's
It's
what
in
he
there.
sounds
It's
like.
in there.
All right, moving on to the guest questions. Dad, Eric, whatever you want to be called.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us about your favorite concert experience.
Funny you mention that because I got two of them. First one is back in 1984 called the Texas Jam, and Rush was the headliner.
Of course.
It was Rush, Ozzy, Gary Moore, Bryan Adams, and 38 Special. And that cost me $16 a ticket to get into that thing.
That's it.
That's it. That's back in the day.
Nice.
You know, for somebody that has been buying all your concert tickets here recently, that massively pisses me off.
Hey, you didn't need to let the cat out the bag.
Just saying.
But no, we, and your mother was with me. We went up to the Cotton Bowl the night before. So that's back when you could, you hung out all night waiting for the ticket box to open so you could get tickets, and you did your little tailgating the night before. So we got good, fucked up, and spent the night out there. I didn't have any shoes the next day inside the Cotton Bowl, so I was barefooted on tarps.
Someone stole your shoes?
No, I wore penny loafer type shoes and changed clothes into shorts, and the next day I'd look like a freaking idiot wearing them shoes, so I didn't wear shoes.
So you chose not to wear shoes at all, even though you
Not
had
knowing
shoes.
that it's hot plastic that you're standing on all day long in the floor of the Cotton Bowl. So I spent the whole day, and after a while, my feet were burned and
Just
numb.
wear your shoes.
So, but anyway, that's my first favorite concert. My next favorite concert, a little closer to the times. It was a Kiss concert with you.
Oh my God, that's your second?
Yes, and watching you, being able to give you that experience meant the world to me.
Yeah, okay. I knew. I was waiting for it to
but
come.
yeah,
we get
those
it.
are my two favorite concerts.
Oh,
And there's
I
been
made top
several,
two.
there's been many in between, but those are the two that really stick out. Especially Rush. That was the first laser light show I've ever seen.
Were you big into Rush before you
yeah.
went to the concert?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And they didn't disappoint. Haven't seen them enough since, but and they obviously never will be again.
Would have been a hell of a year to go see them, I think.
Let's not talk about how you won't get to see Rush again.
Well, you're in charge of the questions, so what's
I know.
next?
What's one of your favorite moments in a song?
Probably guitar solos. I love the sound of guitar. Now, that being said, I also dig drums. So, I mean, the part of the song, I really don't. It's just the whole thing, just this is the way everything's put together. And one of these bands
Does just that?
and in every facet. I mean, they're so busy. It just,
I was going to say something highly inappropriate just then. I was going to say, calm down on the chub for Rush. Hold off a little bit.
That's what he's here for.
I'm sorry, but
I know.
you know the things I do.
I know.
And you've seen. And
we expect nothing less. Trust me.
Okay.
Moving on to our next question. What is the first album you remember owning? And how old were you? I'm curious to know that.
Dig this. The first album I ever owned was Foreigner 4.
Okay.
That's a good one.
My Aunt Pearline Carter bought that for me.
Look at
That's how
Mama
long ago it was. So anyway.
I wonder if she remembers that.
And on the same visit, she bought me Foreigner 4. She also picked up the Oak Ridge Boys. So
wow.
Diversion, there it is.
What she wanted you to be into. Yeah? No?
Maybe.
No, I had to listen to Foreigner 4 at night when,
Okay.
I think that
so
that says a lot about
rock
her.
and roll rubbish.
Willing to feed your musical taste, which she might not approve of.
Yep.
Yeah.
But she was
Still might not approve of.
Great human being.
Yeah.
willing to do that for me. So, yeah, that was my first one.
How would you say your taste in music has evolved over time?
Well, country is my roots. I mean, if you look back, y'all both know country is my roots. If you knew your Pawpaw James, you would know a whole lot more about that. But I grew up teenage adolescent years rocking out. I mean, I'm just an 80s metal, kind of person. I met your mother. I had to diversify myself. That's when the R&B and all that, came into play. So, and now there's not any music I don't listen to. I listen to, Danish symphony.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, you want to hock that one up. I want you to explain to me what you mean by that.
There's music that you do not listen to, that you have not had an interest in listening to. There's newer music that you will not give a fair shot to.
It must be somebody that you really like to listen to, because otherwise...
I'm pretty sure we're going to be covering her in our next episode.
Oh.
So,
okay, well...
Automatically assumed you wouldn't like her.
Until that happens, you won't know.
Okay.
But I've listened to quite a few people that you don't know that I've listened to. I will stand any kind of music.
I know you will.
I will give it a go.
Yeah, and I think there might be a big difference here between being opposed to listening to something and just not taking the time to listen to something. And today's show is a really good example of that for me. You're
unemployed. You have all the time in the world now.
But when you're stuck on what you feel was a better time,
I know that.
That just,
We've talked about this. Apparently you and I are the
when
same
you get
kind of creature.
50-something, you kind of want to, hold on to things that are near and dear to you in the past.
You and I are the same type of creature. Shane and I mentioned this I think in the last episode. I will rate a song higher if it holds a level of nostalgia for me. That doesn't necessarily make it the best song ever. You are the same way.
Yes.
So I wonder where I got that from.
Yes, there are memories in my music.
Yeah.
There's just no doubt about it.
You have a lot of them.
Yes, I do.
What's an album you love, which most people have probably never heard?
I don't know. It was before y'all's time. They were kind of popular, but they it's just Night Ranger, Dawn Patrol.
Okay.
Raw. I mean, back in the 80s, your guitar. I mean, when you come out with a raw guitar, and that's what Jack Blades, and they just the Night Ranger sound was the whole album, Dawn Patrol. Well, Don't Tell Me You Love Me, Eddie's Coming Out Tonight, all of them, the whole album.
I have to go back and listen to that.
So, anyway.
Well, moving on, we're going to get on to our first artist. Shane, who was the artist that was drawn for this past week?
Prince. Or Taff Cat, depending on where you are in the discography.
Taff Cat?
That I don't know why. It's the artist formerly known as Prince. I used to fuck with people and call him Taff Cat. Like, I'm still going to call you some shit. Sorry about your luck.
And what were the albums that we covered by Prince?
We covered the self-titled Controversy, 1999, Purple Rain, and Sign of the Times.
All right.
So we'll go ahead and start with our thoughts on the self-titled from 1979. That's Prince. This one fell in the middle for me. I gave it 5 5s, and my top track was Bambi. Bottom track was Still Waiting.
Wow. That one hit the bottom for me. There was one track on there that actually had some memories with it, but the rest of it just didn't click with me.
How many 5s did you give it?
0.
And you're talking about this top track. What was your top track?
I want to be your lover.
Yeah.
And what was your bottom?
Bambi, of all things.
Interesting.
I don't know why that one caught me. I didn't expect Prince to rock as hard as he
Different,
does.
yes, it's very different. It's out of his element to me.
And you see the title, and I immediately thought, the fuck?
Yeah.
Bambi?
Yeah, that too.
It was my runner-up. I gave it 2 5s. I Want to Be Your Lover was my top. Bambi was my bottom.
All right.
You're making me feel like shit already. All right, let's go
Mine was literally the same thing
Let's
as
keep
yours.
going.
So,
No, you're runner-up.
well, yeah, but
Okay.
my top and bottom tracks were the same as yours.
Okay.
Next up was Controversy from 1981.
You mean, what's the name of this album, Dad?
Count your pussy.
There you go.
Wow. This was next to last for me. I gave it 3 5s. My top track was Jack You Off. And my bottom track was Annie Christian.
That's the second to last for me. No 5s, by the way. Like you said, that Controversy song, I swear to you, that's what I heard when I first heard it. Sounded like he was saying, count your pussy.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be out of the realm for him.
And that's where it came from. Now, I didn't have a clue about Jack Me Off. I thought that was a little toe tapper. I thought it was funny, but yeah, I just,
And what was your top song?
Top song was Do Me Baby. And that song right there.
Just threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Somebody, one of you three may have been conceived to that
I'm
song.
pretty
so
sure
y'all
Mom said it was Logan yesterday.
Yeah, so y'all keep on, you laugh all you want, but
Oh, God.
Anyway.
And what was your bottom?
My bottom was Ronnie, Talk to Russia.
Yeah, you felt pretty. I tried to get him to not talk about Prince because we saw each other twice this week because it was my birthday week. It was a very hard week for him not to talk
She
about
was pulling
anybody.
shit out of me.
Well, liar. Oh, here, let me leave my ratings in the view of Rayburn just so that she'd be tempted to look.
That's on you.
I didn't look,
Okay.
but you tried to get me to look. Anyway,
No, I didn't.
he felt very, very strong about Ronnie Talk to Russia. I think your exact words was, "What kind of stupid shit was
What
Ronnie
the
Talk
hell
to
is
Russia?"
this? Fucking, first off, who is Ronnie? And what's
Why
he
is he
doing
talking
talking
to
to
Russia?
Russia? Anyway.
I felt a pretty strong aversion to the song when I first heard it. I wasn't digging it.
Mhm.
I don't know. It caught me after a while.
Yeah.
Did it?
Yeah.
This fell in my bottom, the Controversy album. I gave it 1 5. My top track was Do Me, Baby.
I don't think I gave this song a 5, by the way. I just throw that out there. We can have a little bit of
Yeah.
mixed feelings.
Yeah. My bottom one was Annie Christian. It was not my bag. I
Annie
couldn't
Christian.
get into it.
Wasn't bad. Lyrically, it was a pretty good song. It just, I don't know. It was talking,
Mm-hmm.
Artful.
Yeah. And Prince will do that. He'll do a lot of weird stuff, and sometimes it lands, sometimes it doesn't. The times that it lands, it lands.
Goodness. Sorry.
It's all good.
So, moving on to our next album.
It's 1999 from 1982.
Yeah.
This was my top album. I would go ahead and say that when it comes to albums like this that I know fall on those top 100 lists routinely,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going into it thinking it's going to be overrated. Full disclosure, I had never sat down to listen to a Prince album in its entirety or a Rush album in its entirety before this week. So I really thought that this was going to not do so well for me, but I gave it 8 5s. My top track was Something in the Water.
God, dog.
My bottom track was Free.
Okay.
Free. This was my second runner-up, number 2 album. 33 points out of it, but 0 5s. And I'm starting to wonder if I got a problem ranking shit here.
No,
but
you
anyway,
don't.
a lot of it didn't just really catch with me. Top track, Little Red Corvette. Bottom track, All the Critics Love You in New York.
Yeah.
It just, the fact that there were so many songs, I guess, on that album is why the points were so high. But I've only got 2 4s in it. So anyway,
Don't knock your rating if something
Yeah.
doesn't catch you well. That's the whole point.
I learned this week you're never your most truest when rating an album as you are the first time you really listen to it. And boy, did that bite me in the ass. But moving on.
I'm going to strongly disagree with that statement.
Well, I couldn't change my ratings,
Oh,
even though in some instances I wanted to.
you couldn't change your ratings?
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
We'll talk about it. All right, this album was second to last for me. I gave it 3 5s. My top track was Little Red Corvette. My bottom track was Something in the Water. Does not compute.
Which was my top.
I know.
All right.
See? The New York song, it was a contender for my bottom as well.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was, again, more of an art piece.
Mm-hmm.
Free just, I don't know, it kind of bored me.
Mm.
Good song. But anyway, next up is Purple Rain from 1984. This was my runner-up. I gave it 6 5s. My bottom track was Baby I'm a Star. And top, I had a tie, which surprised me. I couldn't pick between Darling Nikki, which would have been obvious for me. But I had never heard the Beautiful Ones. And that one was fantastic.
Eric.
Funny you say that. You lead right into me. This was my number 1 top album, obviously. And I don't know if the movie might have helped that. But 3 5s, top track, Beautiful Ones. I love that song.
Yeah.
You mentioned Darling Nikki. I never knew there was a subliminal message at the end.
At the very end.
Well, I didn't know what in the hell that was.
Oh.
And this was
scared him
midnight.
a little bit.
I'm listening to these at midnight, and that shit came on. And I was like, I had to look at my phone to see if it was still playing what it's supposed to be playing, because it just, switched on me. But anyway, bottom track was When Doves Cry.
Okay.
Only because that song's been running the ground.
You're tired of it?
Yeah. It's running the ground. But yeah, 3 5s, number 1 top, Beautiful Ones. I love it.
This was also my top album. I gave it 8 out of 9 5s. My top track was Beautiful Ones.
Okay.
Most people would assume that, Purple Rain would be the number 1 song. I think that Beautiful Ones is highly underrated on this album. Anyway.
Can I say, before you name your bottom track, every time I hear Purple Rain, I hear Rodney Carrington singing it.
Yeah, that's
one of his live shows, so that kind of throws it for me.
See, it might have thrown it for me had I known that was a thing.
And this is another one of those musical films I've never seen, by the way. So.
I know.
Really?
Yeah, I always mean to. I don't know.
Did you know he made a sequel to Purple Rain?
No.
It's called Graffiti Bridge. It's got Morris Day in it. It did not do well.
Okay.
But yeah. And my bottom track, Computer Blue. It's always Computer Blue for me. I still give it a 3.
Yeah.
It's not a bad song.
Right.
It's just when you compare the album as a whole, I think it lacks a little something. It might be Wendy and Lisa.
It's funny
that cause problems.
Everybody has the same top track here, which did not get any radio play at all.
That says something.
When Doves Cry and Purple Rain was all over the radio. So that's,
Dearly Beloved, you're the first song on the album.
Let's Go Crazy.
Let's go crazy. You said that one lost its luster.
Yes.
Because it got so much airtime too.
Yes.
Which I still love it.
But it's the tracks that didn't get the radio play, especially Beautiful Ones. I mean, it's, if Beautiful Ones doesn't have a girl pulling her panties off, I mean, it's just that kind of song. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get
it. It's gonna tell something.
Line, the Beautiful Ones always smash the picture, always, every time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so anyway.
Beautiful Ones always hurt you. They always break your heart.
Last album we covered was Sign of the Times from 1987. This was actually a double disc. I gave this album 3 5s. My top track was Hot Thing. My bottom track was Forever in My Life.
That's funny. Mine was in the middle, number 3. Top track, You Got the Look. Just the sound, the beat. Bottom track, the cross. Now, I did read this morning, as a matter of fact, that Sign of the Times Remastered is coming out. If it's not already out, it's coming out here in the next month or two from him. So, anyway.
I'm actually interested to hear that one too, because I thought this album, which I think we listened to, I know I listened to the original. They had both on Spotify, but the levels were all over the place. Like sometimes shit was just way too loud and the next track would be way too quiet. And so I think it could handle a remaster really well.
It would have probably got better ratings with me if it had 16 songs. I think that's what kind of dropped everything down.
How many 5s did you give it?
I only gave it 1 5. And that would probably be You Got the Look.
Yeah, in that song,
obviously.
It's just, I'm pretty sure Roxette did The Look after that.
We were talking about this.
Yeah, but that's, it's different. I mean, if you listen to both of them,
I agree.
Just, but it's ironic. You know, same title. So
this album fell in the middle for me as well. I gave it 2 5s. My top track was Adore.
That's a good fucking song.
It is. Shame on you for not giving it a 4. It was the last song.
I saw some people on Twitter last night talking about that song, actually, about how they thought it was one of the sexiest songs of all time.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about. It's got the organ music.
It's the very last one.
Yeah. He said he couldn't do it because there's too much organ.
Yeah, just the organ is overkill for me.
Okay.
You know.
My bottom track was Sign of the Times, which is kind of it's
church
a talk track, I believe.
It's the very first one, right?
Yeah, it's the very first one.
So both of your top and your bottom were my other 2 5s.
Really?
This outing.
Well, let's move on to the questionnaire portion.
So what was everyone's weirdest track?
Annie Christian.
Starfish and Coffee.
I thought that song was fun.
I thought it was. I was kind of let down, you know, when I read the title. I was like, "Man, this some bitch." It didn't.
Early morning, man. Asshole in Java. I don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That one reminded me of the This Is America, the Childish Gambino verses.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's just so bright, it wasn't believable to me.
He performed Starfish and Coffee on the Muppets. But they changed the words, I think.
I bet
to
they
it.
did.
Yeah.
My weirdest was Forever in My Life. And that he like talks part of it while he's singing. I think I keep wanting to say like he's doing a cappella instruments with his voice or something. Mm-hmm. I just thought the song was artful fart sniffing. I didn't care for it.
See, and that's some of what I got from him is, you know, the some of the lower stuff that I ranked. It just, you know, I don't want to hear a story, you know, and it's like he's sing to me, you know. So
all the critics love you in New York or whatever.
Sing to me, baby.
What was your best title?
Purple Rain. I thought that title alone has really wonderful imagery, and that's probably why it stands out so well for people.
Mine was Beautiful Ones. Obviously, I just, you know, damn the beautiful ones.
Starfish and Coffee.
Starfish and Coffee. All right.
Best part of waking up.
Okay. Starfish in your cup.
What was your worst title?
Free.
Yeah.
I just thought it was too generic for Prince. I would have gone with Be Glad. It's at least a little better.
Okay.
You know? I don't know.
Okay.
Mine was Ronnie Talked to Russia. You know, as far as I'm concerned with that song, I would have named it I'll Make Your Ears Burn, because that's exactly what happened to my ears. I couldn't. I'm sorry. It is what it is, you know.
My worst title was Jack You Off. I went into it expecting one thing. I didn't get it.
I thought that was creative marketing.
I would have used Electric Release.
That's not bad either.
Thank you. Sticking with Prince's theme.
It's not as memorable as Jack You
I
Off.
know.
Yeah, that's straightforward there, you know.
It sure reminded me of Dr. Hook had a song on, I think, the end of one of their albums called Looking for Pussy.
And it is what it was.
Same sort of thing.
Well, see, but that was my problem with Jack You Off is it was an over-sexualized song just because this is Prince we're talking about here. Which, speaking of, I learned that Al Gore's wife, Tipper Gore, she didn't like Darling Nikki. She heard her daughter listening to Darling Nikki. Explicit stickers.
Don't get me started.
On. Okay. I'm just saying, I found that out.
I'm pretty much in the same boat here.
Yeah.
Okay. You shared like this with the
Yeah, you're
Clinton
going to open up a
inauguration
shitstorm is
songs.
what
Okay,
you're
all right.
fixing to open up.
Anyway, jack you off. I just expected something different.
Okay.
So, what would you say Prince's strongest element is?
The unpredictable nature of his songwriting. I genuinely have no idea what it's going to sound like from track to track or what the hell he's going to be talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I found that fascinating. What about you, Eric?
His seductive sound. If anybody can climb into a woman's britches with the way he sings, it would be him.
Your wife being one of them women.
Yes. I don't know what it is about his voice, because when you listen to him talk, and he's a very quiet person, he just, I don't know. And his body actions, they go hand in hand. So,
Oh, yeah.
I can't stop thinking about Dave Chappelle now.
Blouses. You knew what you were getting into with Prince when you turned on that self-titled album and you could see the cover art.
And all that hair.
Yeah, just chest open and yeah.
Dad didn't know that he had been making music for that long. I had to show him the I Want to Be Your Lover music video, and he's like, hold up, wait a minute. I was like, this is in 79.
I remember hearing the song.
Because he expected Prince to be making music after Rush, and I'm like, no, listen.
Because
they were around the
Your
same
Lover
time.
got radio play back in the day, and this is back before y'all was born. I mean, I remember hearing it on the radio, but I didn't know it was him.
Well, and I told you that before that self-titled album, he came out with another album that I did not choose, but that is not Prince's first album. That self-titled album. There's another one.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to listen to that one, because this one here I thought was awful raw, and I thought it was just...
She gave me a panic look. Yeah.
I just didn't want it to fix their level.
He tapped on the table.
Sorry.
Don't do that.
I said his strongest element is staying true to his vision and slow, sensual sounds or upbeat pop dance tracks.
I will add this, though, as far as his strongest element. He likes, he controls everything.
Yeah.
He likes to want to be able to do everything and control everything, which is probably one of the problems he had with the Revolution.
Yeah. The first couple of albums that he did, he played all the instruments. He knows how to play a total of 27 instruments.
Yes, which, is fine as long as you can go in a studio and cut these things and overdub them and do what you got to do. But when you get out in
live performances,
then you got problems.
Well, I think he kind of knew what was coming with the whole, obviously, the Purple Rain thing, because how many times did he basically have to recreate that entire show in concert after Purple Rain came out?
I've got a question for y'all while we're sitting in the middle of this questionnaire. How were the albums chosen this week? Because I did not do the choosing, and I'm pretty curious.
I'll let you go first.
It's hands down for me. Those albums have memories, and we can get into that if we have time.
So you did choose the Rush albums?
Mm-hmm.
I did,
okay.
Yes.
I told him, since it was his choice and since he felt so passionately about Rush, that it was only fitting for him to get to pick the albums.
And what happened with Prince?
I wanted to pick some of his earlier stuff because I was familiar with his self-titled album. I figured you weren't.
Oh.
So I wanted to pick that first album.
You figured right.
But I also wanted the height of his success.
Yeah.
I wanted to cover those albums because Prince has a huge discography. And I could have picked, Diamonds and Pearls. I thought about picking that for you, Shane. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
He can go back in the jar. I thought about doing musicology. I would say maybe Batman, but
I just didn't know. I didn't know how the albums were chosen or if there was a method to the madness. So I get what's going on.
If he's bringing his A game when it comes to Rush, I got to bring my A game when it comes to Prince.
And here's my problem. I stacked up on a lot of little crumbs and tidbits on Rush throughout the week. Mm-hmm. But the fact that Prince is so private, mm-hmm. I couldn't find diddly squat.
Oh, you weren't looking hard.
Well, I mean, I didn't get on the computer, but
exactly.
But as far as, biographies, rockumentaries, mm-hmm. things like that, they're just not out there on him, because I guess,
What would you say is Prince's weakest element?
The small amount of unfiltered experimentation. I think the Sign of the Times album that we covered was directly after he split with the Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure it gave him the freedom that he wanted to do whatever he wanted and not have any say-so from anybody else, it didn't land as well for me. And I think that experimentation doesn't always catch me the way it's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that. The Revolution did help him quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it just, they're different with the Revolution. My weakest element, he's so soft spoken. You know, it's like pulling teeth trying to get. You know, I've watched interviews, and he doesn't like talking in the microphones. You know, when somebody else is holding the microphone.
Yeah,
and he's real reserved.
But you did say you couldn't pinpoint his weakest element as a musician.
No, I couldn't. I mean, the man, I'll give him this now. You say I'm one-sided, but this man is a very smart musician. I'm going to give him that. He knows his stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but the sad thing is I can't figure out where he came from.
Right.
You know, his upbringing, what he went through. Part of Purple Rain may give you some of that, but you know what I'm talking about.
His dad was not abusive or an alcoholic.
Well, see, and that just throws you a curveball.
But he was
a
musician.
So,
his dad named him. His name is actually Prince. His dad named him after himself and his band.
Yeah, that just goes to show you what
Prince Rogers.
Anyway, that's
I'm telling you,
Prince is an accomplished artist, and performer.
I kind of like that he's so inclusive. I think more musicians should only focus on their music and not worry about how they're perceived to other people. And I think all Prince really cared about was his music. He didn't care about interviews and public appearances and things like that. Did he put on a show? Absolutely.
He wanted to be a man of mystery because he wanted all them panties. That's what Prince wanted.
So he could wear them.
Yeah.
Well, okay. What was your weakest element?
I said over experimenting. It's basically the same thing that Shane said. I think that when it's either two sides. Either he nails it or he just misses the mark. I said that, and I love his Prince screams when it's appropriate. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it can be a little much.
Yes, he's got his own squawk.
Yeah,
I think it does something to
and
women too.
I do like it.
I think it did something to me this week.
Right.
I do like it, but sometimes it can be a bit much. Kind of like when we were talking about Brendan Urie. Like, we get it. You can do it. You don't have to do it all the time.
Yeah.
So, who do you think that Prince sounds like?
Early Michael Jackson with added guitar skills and more funk.
All right.
Eric?
Yeah, I really couldn't think of anybody. You know, you say Michael Jackson, and I guess I can see the relation to some extent. But his stage mannerism and it just both these groups are one of a kind.
Yes.
You know.
I
can't. I really his sound just is unique to me.
So you didn't have an answer?
No.
Okay.
I didn't. Prince sounds like Prince.
Okay. Prince sounds like Prince. Got it. I said Michael Jackson, especially in those earlier albums. Mm-hmm. Lizzo, who is a protege of Prince.
Fucking Lizzo. Okay.
Janelle Monáe, who is another protege of Prince. Alicia Keys, The Time, Cameo, Bobby Brown, Sly and the Family Stone.
Damn.
Which Prince's idol was Sly from Sly and the Family Stone.
And I can agree with a lot of that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
See, you just had to look. The internet, it's an amazing thing.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right, then.
When would you listen, or how does the music make you feel?
I think if you're going to listen to this stuff, the most appropriate place is probably at a swingers party.
Okay.
Made me feel like a high sex drive is perfectly normal.
It is. It's perfectly normal.
Well, since I don't know of any swingers parties, my choice was at night or whenever you're in the mood, because that's exactly what the music does. You know, it makes you want to slap cheeks and do the funky.
Cheeks.
Slap cheeks.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Make them clap.
Make some noise. Clap them. Clap them and slap them.
Play Helicopter Man a little bit.
That's right.
All right. I said, like I want to dance or like I want to freak. Maybe both.
Same thing.
Maybe both. What was your first or best experience with Prince?
Man, my most memorable is what I have to go with. Is I grew up here in Prince, but my most memorable by far was I was living with Corey and Sandra, and Joel used to come around a lot, and we had some friends over from Crum. They were girls, and nobody else was home. We were listening to Pussy Control, and Sandra came home, and she was not happy. I don't know if it was just the fact that we had company in the house when she wasn't there. I don't know if it was
she knew it
Pussy
was about
Control.
to go down.
Well, it wasn't shit going down for me. I was Big Shane back then, right? So
Yeah.
I swear I watch.
Lord. But yeah, Pussy Control, and that did not have a sexy end for anybody in that house, let me tell you.
All right.
Actually, my first or best, the movie. Watching the movie for the first time with your mama. Of course, it didn't, where we went straight after the movie, but yeah, or in the middle of it.
I was going to say, you made it to the end. Congrats.
The people that
living room floor is not a bad place to be.
The people that don't understand the dynamics of this relationship are very shocked right now.
Well,
What do you mean, father-daughter?
Well, no, the father-daughter, but just how open we are about discussing.
I don't give a damn. I don't care what anybody
lives.
thinks about me.
I'm just
me.
saying.
Yeah.
It's not normal for people to be so open with their parents and vice versa.
Okay, well, but maybe that's what stands me apart. I don't care.
Okay, that's fine. I love you the way that you are.
Is it right or wrong? Who's to say?
Yeah, and maybe the norm is the problem.
Maybe.
I don't know. It always seemed obvious to me. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't for sex.
Oh, no. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
Maybe one of these songs.
I was conceived to a Christmas song. That's when I was conceived.
Listen.
Anyway.
Serious note.
We're going to make Mom uncomfortable.
You do know you're adopted, right?
Yeah. Wait.
I was out of state when you were born, so there's a high possibility that
Wait,
that's real.
I thought someone else is someone else my dad? Didn't we talk about this?
Yes.
Okay.
You're a crack baby.
Okay. Nice. Anyway, my first
Sorry, Cootie.
My first or best experience hearing Prince was hearing Prince on the radio or watching Purple Rain. Too young.
Probably.
Too young.
Once again, my fault, right?
Yeah, but that's okay. I consider you a good parent. I mean, like Shane said, I came out pretty well adjusted.
Compared to what's out there nowadays, it's not that bad, if you think about
You're
it.
saying this to a man that has young children. What sort of hope?
I'm saying what's put on the radio and on TV nowadays, Purple Rain is not that bad.
No, it's not. I don't even think it was rated. Was it rated R? I don't know.
Possibly.
It was really refreshing to sit down with an artist and listen to somebody just say whatever the hell they wanted to say. Because I think nowadays you get extremes. You're going to get that safe, we never really go outside of the lines, or you're going to get all I talk about is fucking.
Yeah.
Right.
There was a nice blend of everything involved here.
Which is funny because back then this was shocking. Like Prince was shocking.
It's still pretty
people.
shocking sometimes.
Yeah. No, it is still pretty shocking. Who would you like Prince to collaborate with?
I couldn't think of anything, but I went through Prince first, and the more I thought about it after, I call it the masochist in me, but I think it would have been interesting to hear him with Rush. I just want to know what it sounds like now.
Okay.
I couldn't come up with anyone. I mean, the
said
man
no one.
has left this world, so.
I said no one. It's the wound is still pretty raw.
Okay. I don't know if I've really been affected by an artist's death in my lifetime. Everyone seems so up in arms about...
I didn't cry or anything, but I remember I did an Instagram post. But I also did an Instagram post when, like, Robin Williams died. Yeah. So, creative artists that had a large piece to do with my upbringing, I think affected me. But not enough for me to cry. Because shit happens.
Tupac, maybe?
Not me.
Still trying to think about it. Tupac.
Logan,
I
sure.
have been, but we'll get to that here shortly.
Okay.
Okay. What makes this artist seem unique?
He was innovative while still being something of a throwback. He walked a very fine line between pushing all types of music forward and still retaining a lot of respect for what came before him.
Good answer. Good answer.
In a nutshell, what Shane said, his work ethic. I mean, it just, period.
I said his styling of music and experimental sound, he was extremely innovative and paved the way for a different type of music, especially during this time. And I agree with what you said too. The man was a workaholic. He was always working on something. Even if he didn't release the album that he created because he think it lacked his level of perfection. Man's workaholic. Gotta give him that. How could this artist be most successful in the future?
I didn't write anything because he's dead.
I wrote Rest in Peace, Prince.
That's exactly what I wrote. He ain't no longer with us, so he can't do nothing else.
Who would you recommend Prince to and why?
People who don't think R&B and rock and roll can blend well.
Fair answer.
My wife when I want some coochie.
Very nice. And you're definitely going to get it now.
I hope so.
I said to anyone who enjoys Lizzo and Janelle Monáe today, those of you that enjoy their type of music might not know where that type of music came from. Dial it back. Focus on Prince, because that's where you're truly going to get your money's worth. Do you have any optional discussion topics?
Yeah, I thought his album art was much more representative of the music that you're going to hear than most artists. You really see the direction of the album based on what the cover art is, much more than other people. And I'm going to run through these real quick. We talked about similar sounding songs.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a few. With You had similarities to Get Closer by Seals and Crofts for me. International Lover reminded me of D'Angelo's Untitled. Delirious made me think about Cool Jerk by The Capitals.
Okay.
Hot Things Melody brought Breathless by All For One to mind. I mean, the short of this is to say that much of Prince's sound shows up in other popular music, but never in an annoying way.
I just wonder if some of those were influenced by his
I bet they
music.
were.
Yeah.
A lot of artists. D'Angelo is one that has said he has taken a lot of cues from Prince and really looks up to him as an artist. So the Untitled album, or the Untitled song, could have had a lot to do with his international. I'm so glad you talked about International Lover. I really like that song. You did not. You didn't like International Lover.
Okay.
Okay, anyway.
I think I didn't like it originally. I'm pretty sure it caught me.
Throw
the
me
second
under the
time I heard
bus.
it.
Yeah. Other songs, if you're not into Prince, that Prince had a hand in writing was Manic Monday by the Bangles. Nothing Compares to You by Sinead O'Connor. That's probably the most obvious one because he recorded it first and then gave her the rights to it. Those stuck out to me. Also, most people don't know, Prince actually created 3 different movies: Purple Rain, Under the Cherry Moon, and Graffiti Bridge. If you listen to Prince's Kiss album, you Kiss.
The song?
This song.
Yeah.
We got you.
Okay. That whole album was created for the movie Under the Cherry Moon.
At no point did I think that Prince wrote a Kiss album.
Well, I know.
Like Kiss music.
In no way.
Well, I know, but I'm trying to relate.
I don't think Gene Simmons would have allowed that.
No. Even the Manic Monday, I could buy that, but Prince writing a Kiss album, no, I'm not.
And I did watch your Under the Cherry Moon, by the way.
I know. You said Mom wasn't into it. Apparently,
She
Mom doesn't like
didn't.
1920s.
Well, in black and white, too. She
It's-
just...
It's extremely campy, and that's the intention. Like, people think, oh, Prince is trying to make a serious movie. He knew what he was doing in making this trolley Under the Cherry Moon. He's a gigolo
Okay.
Yeah.
that
Yes.
tries to swindle
Yes.
this young debutante.
virgin.
Yeah. And he ends up falling in love with her.
That's the thing. That's
What?
the thing that just knocks me
And
immediately.
he does it.
Yeah, he does.
He works his magic.
That would drop some cred for me. Because as someone who's been something of a ladies' man at some point in my life, the last thing I want anything to do with is a virgin.
Okay.
Give me somebody who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you help me out. I'm not running the show here.
What,
Come
what
on.
is it that you say? Get you someone that scares you?
Chip in.
Yeah.
Get you someone that scares
Get you some.
And Graffiti Bridge, that's supposed to be Purple Rain's sequel. Both of Under the Cherry Moon and Graffiti Bridge won massive amounts of Razzies. So if you're wanting to expand on your Prince knowledge, watch those movies, but don't expect a lot out of them. So that's all I have to say about Prince.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and take a break.
All right.
feel rested?
I do. I took a nap in the corner earlier.
I feel very rested.
I'm sure you do. All right. I'm going to get started with my song recommendation, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go first. My song recommendation is, I actually wanted this to be on my top 10 music video songs, but I found out that the music video that my father showed me when he showed me this song is not the official music video that goes with the song.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I was
You
a little
liked it.
I did. I liked the song. I was just disappointed that I couldn't share it with the world.
Too much build up. Tell me what you're talking about.
Children of the Sun by Billy Thorpe.
Okay.
I was showed a music video that was a very good music video, but it is not the original that goes with the song. So I was not able to share that song last week like I wanted to. So I'm going to share it as my song recommendation for the week. If you like, he reminds me a lot of Billy Squier.
Okay.
But he's a little bit more creative when it comes to, especially Children of the Sun, but they sound a little bit alike.
That's another one of those musicians that was an 80s. Billy Squier. Yeah, I got you.
As lonely as the night.
Yeah.
Don't say no.
Stroke.
Yeah. Stroke.
Yeah.
I want to go play guitar right now.
I know.
My Kind of Lover. Yeah, you
Yeah.
name it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't last long, but he was out there. So.
What about you?
No plug. Nothing like that.
No plug.
You good? All right.
Uh,
Eric, do you want to talk about something you don't have anything to do with the show?
Not really. I mean, if we're talking plugs here, a lot of the information that I've got on my band came from rockumentary. Damn good rockumentary, Beyond the Lighted Stage.
Beyond the Lighted Stage.
Yes. I don't know if it's out on Netflix. I had to fire stick it, but I believe it is. And it tells you about Rush from the time they were little all the way, up until, Neil Peart's death.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff there that's, it's pretty interesting. I don't know if I'm supposed to get into it now or
okay.
just wait.
I mean, it's a good
Hey,
mention
man,
in case we miss
you're
it.
a guest. It's today. This show is a third yours.
These guys, in Canada,
Canada.
in Canada, in the good day,
Good day, wrong.
good day in Canada.
A boot.
Hoser. Well, this is Rush right here.
Hey. Hey, I'm gonna need you to calm down.
It's all right.
I'm just saying. I'm telling you how it went down.
What was the name of the rockumentary?
Beyond the Lighted Stage.
Okay, Beyond the Lighted Stage. I'm gonna have to put that on my
Yes.
my to watch along
I'll
with
go looking
Stoned
for it.
Age.
So,
Wow, he's full of knowledge today.
Herb's getting,
yes.
she's getting antsy like, we're almost there, Dad.
Yeah,
We're
come
almost
on,
there.
We're so close.
All right. So my recommendation this week is Toby by the Shy Lights. It was cruel of me to boo your recommendation last week, Rayburn, because it really was a sad day when Toby went away. Even for me. Doesn't hurt that recommending this lets me throw some Shy Lights into the mix and bring up the fact that I made our cousin Toby dance with me to this song at my wedding reception. You may have even danced with me, Eric, to this song.
We did get a little close, didn't we?
Yeah.
Got a little.
It was a wild night.
Okay.
And then my plug is Arizona Gunslinger's red jalapeno pepper sauce. I first tried this sauce when visiting the Grand Canyon and was happy to find it's easily obtained on Amazon. This sauce gives all the flavor of jalapenos without much of the heat. It's delicious, and I'm tired of seeing it slept on. I love Louisiana and Tapatio as much as the next person, but let's all broaden our horizons a bit.
Speaking of broadening our horizons, yesterday I did something, and this is not going to mean a lot to anyone else. I had stuffed jalapenos for my birthday. Yeah.
I didn't know what was about to come out of your mouth.
I don't ever eat hot stuff, but I swear, I think it's since the cabin trip where you made me try the bomb and all that other, what was the top one?
The Last Dab.
The Last Dab. Ever since I tried all that stuff, I have been eating hot sauce, like buffalo sauce. I'm eating bell peppers.
You got to work yourself into it. It's good.
I bet your dad's still feeling the Last Dab when he goes to the bathroom.
You know what? It's his own
Yes,
fault.
sir.
We warned you. You were stupid.
I did not realize that smearing that shit on my tortilla for breakfast was going to affect me that night.
It's tasty.
It sure was, but it did not do me any favors coming out.
If it would have been the bomb, he wouldn't be here today.
No, the bomb doesn't really do much because it's just a concentrated habanero sauce.
You didn't think that one was hotter?
It is in the
Okay,
mouth.
yeah.
Briefly, yes. It does
in the
not.
mouth.
Yeah.
You take a ghost pepper Rex and whatever the hell is in the last dab, it ain't your friend.
It tore my guts up.
I might have died that night had it not been your mom at the ready with that ice cream to save me.
I was just happy it was cold outside.
It was cold. Just breathing. All right.
Fun
You ready
weekend.
to move on?
Yeah, let's get to artist number 2.
All right. So, Dad, you mind telling us who your choice was for this week?
Rush.
Okay.
It's going to be real hard to get through this segment without wanting to throw out some lyrics or
I know.
something. So
I know.
I'll try to hold my tongue.
That's fine. Why don't you let them know what was the first album we covered by Rush and the year?
The first album would be about 2112, and that came out in 1976. The Spirit of 76.
And where did this fall in your rating?
This fell at number 3, right in the middle. And I gave it 1.5, believe it or not.
Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with a lot of these albums, they're extremely short. I think the longest one has 9 songs, shortest one having 4. So these albums,
I think 8, actually.
yeah, these aren't like 20 track albums.
But you also got to understand that, especially with 2112 album here, the first track's 20 minutes long.
Yep.
That's true.
With
So-
7 different parts,
Yes.
I believe.
And if you go back and listen to them, they actually, on Spotify, they actually break them. They leave it in its entirety as the first song, but then the bonus version breaks those up into the pieces that
Oh, I didn't
make
notice
up
that.
make up the first song. So you gave it 1.5. What was your top track on this album?
Top track, obviously, it was toss up. Passage to Bangkok was my number 5. It would have been 2112 had it not been so damn long.
Mhm.
That's why Passage to Bangkok got my bottom track was Lessons.
Okay. This fell on the bottom for me. I gave it 1.5. I know. The horror. I gave it 1.5. My top track was Tears. My bottom track was Something for Nothing. Shane?
Well, this was next to last for me. I think that's primarily because of the number of tracks. That will be a running theme here. This artist did a lot of what Tool did to me when we were listening. Bottom track was Lessons, just like Eric. Top track was Tears, just like Rayburn.
Look at that.
And Passage to Bangkok was phenomenal. And that opening track is very long. It was a staple of theirs around that time.
Yes.
They did epics to
Mhm.
start their albums
Mhm.
and then would throw some other pieces into the mix. I think this I gave it 4 5s. Did I say that?
No, you didn't.
4 5s. And there probably would have been 2 more for me if that first track had been rated individually for each piece.
Yeah.
But I rated it as one track.
Originally, that's what I did.
Yeah.
I had to go back and change it.
I thought about it.
Shame on you.
We had it. It's original. It's the original set.
Yeah. That's all I've got to say right now.
Oh,
This-
that's how I rated it.
This album and its storytelling capability reminded me a lot of Within Temptation's earlier stuff. How they told a story and it was a bigger piece. That wasn't the case in Within Temptation's later albums, although The Unforgiving was kind of an epic within itself. But it was at least broken up in those songs. It wasn't a whole song telling
Yeah.
a story.
I'm a liar. Also, when I said I was done talking about this album is listed routinely as the number 2 pick for greatest prog rock albums of all time. I think it deserves to be up there.
Okay.
So even though it was next to last for me, again, this is another Tool situation. I mean,
know.
I could give the money I'd pay for it, and the averages would probably be the best metric, but we'll move on.
All right. Dad, what was our next album that we covered?
The next album was Hemispheres, 1978. This was my second to last album.
Okay.
It only had 4 songs on
Mm-hmm.
it. 2 of those were 5s for me. It did have another long song in it, 10 minutes long, I believe. But that seemed to be kind of a running theme with Rush.
At least in their earlier.
Then, yes.
Yeah, they
Yes.
toned it down a little bit
Yes.
later on.
And I think that's what the record companies and producers didn't really like about their music, is that it,
Well, you got to think about how long can you hold an audience's attention?
well,
Can you hold it for 20 minutes when it comes to one song?
And that's going to be discussed as we go on down through here, because obviously,
What was your top track?
top track, obviously, hands down, La Villa Strangiata.
Okay.
Bottom, Circumstances.
This fell in the middle for me. I gave it 0 5s. My top track was The Trees. My bottom track was that Singus X1 Book 2 Hemispheres.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. Which was the epic on the album.
Yeah.
And you gave the album 2 5s, Eric?
I did.
Okay. So this was at the bottom for me. Again, it's not saying much. If I had to compare this album to something, closest it would come to for me is Floyd's Wish You Were Here. I think the number of tracks, the interplay, it's very similar, even though the groups are rather different.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it 3 5s. My top track was actually Circumstances. I love the chorus on that song. Don't get me wrong, The Trees is phenomenal. And La Via Strangiato, or however it's said, I think that is an amazing track. It's easily 10 times more listenable than YYZ for me. I don't know. It's...
Well, these guys are famous for their music signatures. They're all over the place with it.
Yeah.
And they can come back around. Number one. Number two, I think your whole band follows the lead of the drummer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just... It's
drums are very apparent in this band.
Yeah.
And they should be.
They groove pretty much endlessly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's welcome.
And the funny thing is the band's made up of 3 guys.
Yep.
It does not sound like it's just 3 guys.
Because they're
At
very
least to me.
busy. And I will explain that to you.
Yeah, I've got questions about that later. So
Yes.
I'm happy to hear the answers. Bottom track was Cygnus X1, Book 2.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I thought better of the epic on 2112. Cygnus, it had less variety, but I
Yes.
thought it was more listenable.
I see that.
And that if it was broken up into individual pieces, the Cygnus portion of that song towards the end where it actually changes, I loved that.
Right.
But again,
But it's getting to it.
Yep.
What did you said you gave it, 3 out of 4 5s?
Yep.
And was that Cygnus?
Cygnus was a 4 for me.
It was a 4. Okay.
See, and evidently I'm obviously lacking on 5s. I can see that now.
Welcome to my
So
world, boy.
That's personal opinion. I give 5s to anything that I want to hear again in a big way.
Okay.
So I know it's going to show up on my playlist, and I'm going to want to hear it. That's why it's there. Other people may not agree.
We've discussed our different styles of rating, and that's fine.
Yeah.
We're very different in how we rate music, and it gives the listener someone to identify with based off of what they think. So I do not think that that's a problem that you only gave out a limited number of 5s. I don't think it's a problem that Shane gave out more.
I've actually been told that 5s should just be that once in a lifetime listen, and that playlist should never get more than like 100 or 200 songs on it.
That sounds very sad.
No matter how much music you listen to. So
see, and I don't feel like anybody deserves a 1. I don't give a damn who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Know? So
it's a curious situation to give a 1, but they do exist.
Yeah. And again, we're not professionals.
Nope.
This is all opinion based.
Yep.
Don't at me with your criticisms, okay? They're your opinions. These
everybody
are mine.
has their own opinion, and that's what it's all about. That's what this country's all about.
Yep.
So let's go.
All right.
What's up next?
Next album.
Moving Pictures, 1981.
It's a good year.
This is when my life began as a hell-raising teenager. And let me tell you something. When Tom Sawyer blasted the radio for the first time,
Is this when you were
Game
lighting
changer.
dashboards on fire as you were driving down
down the strip? And
Got it.
those of you that don't know, we used to cruise the strip back in the day.
And this is
Friday
where?
and Saturday nights in Denton, Texas.
There you go.
And we would wind up doing some crazy shit all night, just having fun. The first time I heard Tom Sawyer come out at stereo, I was hooked.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've also said that Moving Pictures is their, basically, I don't want to call it their debut album, but this is their We Are Rush album.
Mm-hmm.
They went away. They got away from the longer stuff per se and started just, putting some rocking tracks. I mean, this is
I would say this is like their mainstream album.
only gave it 3 5s, but could have done more. But those 3 5s were the first 3 songs on this album. I love Moving Pictures. I love the whole album.
And what was your top?
Top, obviously, Tom Sawyer.
Okay. I was going to be disappointed if it wasn't.
And another note, this Tom Sawyer, if you ask Neil Peart, was the hardest song for him to play, drum-wise. And if you're a drummer...
Maybe because it was slower.
No, if you're a drummer, you'll know. It's the signature changes in there and everything. You can... Being a musician, you'll know. But anyway, bottom track, Witch Hunt.
Okay.
Tom Sawyer and Witch Hunt.
This was my top. This got 4 5s for me.
I'm genuinely surprised right now. That's okay.
Okay. My top track was Red Barchetta. My bottom track was Vital Signs.
Really? You didn't like Vital Signs?
How many 5s?
4. I told you were going to learn some things about me. I tried to not speak about Rush just so that you would be surprised.
All right.
Why are you surprised, Shane?
Well, because of the progression of the group, what we're coming up on. This album, which I haven't listened to anything other than these 5 albums, but that 80s sound that kicks in on the upcoming albums, I don't know. I thought that was going to speak to you, but Moving Pictures caught you. Okay.
I don't know. It to me, I know that these later albums had more of that 80s electric sound, but Moving Pictures to me, it was a harder hitting album.
Yeah. It was supposed to be, yes.
And I've heard this electric sound many times.
Okay.
This hard-hitting...
You're welcome.
This hard-hitting album, especially when it starts off with Tom Sawyer, that... Like, you're in it for something.
Yeah, yes.
And Red Barchetta, to me, it's that flighty sound, how it goes from the hard-hitting of Tom Sawyer, and then it goes into... That's the
Sunday driver song.
Yeah, the
it
softer
just,
Red Barchetta.
Out in the country.
It was doing this for me, but it was still
YYZ,
so cohesive.
You got to give Neil Peart his plug. The drum solo on YYZ.
YYZ got a 5 for me.
It's all around. It's just a badass album.
I'm not going to disagree with what's been said here about this being a badass album. This fell in the middle for me. I gave it 5 5s. My top track was Tom Sawyer. I wanted it to be something else, but it wasn't. It's still Tom Sawyer. I think that's really something that's just going to stand out.
It came down to Tom Sawyer and Red Barchetta for me.
As an example of what a great album this is, my bottom track is YYZ. And my bottom track is YYZ because, for me, that's the one that I have heard way too many times to still enjoy.
Yeah.
And that has no vocals in it at all, I believe.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's strictly instrumental.
And it's a 3-man group, so you can see why there would be no vocals. Right. I genuinely don't understand how the majority of this works, especially not in a live situation, but I think we're going to get to that.
Yeah, we are.
Moving on to the next album.
The next album would be Grace Under Pressure. Okay.
From
1984.
Thank you.
And... this is when they decided to take a turn. They decided to take a turn for various reasons. Number one, Geddy Lee's voice and the way he sings. He had an issue back in the day, a scare, should you say. Some people thought he was getting throat cancer. He had an issue, and he couldn't continue because the albums prior to where we're at now, I mean, you listen to him and he's screaming and squealing and, it's just a Canadian high pitch.
Yep.
His voice changes, okay?
I'm going to compare his singing styles to someone later that might actually either piss you off or
nothing's going to piss me off. Now, the sound, this is when they decided to add foot pedals. Alex Lifeson's door opened up. I mean, he could do more things with that guitar. Electric drums. Neil Peart, got to play with electric drums. Yes. Geddy Lee. I don't know how anybody can play the bass. And you listen to some of his bass. Listen to him play his bass, sing vocals, play a synthesizer at the same time.
Yeah.
This guy is so talented, he can even move his mic with his big-ass nose. I've seen it done. I shit you not. He moves his mic with his nose where he wants it. And that's where all of this new sound comes from. Mm-hmm. That being said, they lost some fan base when they did that. These rockers didn't like the new sound.
They want the classic rock.
Mm-hmm.
I love the old stuff, but obviously I love the new stuff. And it's for reasons.
Nostalgia.
Yeah, nostalgia reasons. What they took me through.
When you think about the transition from Moving Pictures to Grace Under Pressure, Moving Pictures was coming straight off the 70s. That 70s experimental sound that was just really at the height was being discovered during Moving Pictures. And then in 1984 with Grace Under Pressure, you definitely hear that transition to more mainstream electric.
80s.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it also feels like a rejection of the norms for prog, to think you can't step outside of certain boundaries.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And they were actually ahead of progress. You know, they were pioneers in what they were doing, especially just the three of them.
So as far as Grace Under Pressure, where did it fall?
Grace Under Pressure fell at the bottom, believe it or not.
Okay.
It got me 2 5s, and I don't know why it fell at the bottom, but obviously it did.
You might have been a part of that generation that didn't appreciate the transition.
He said he was.
No, I enjoyed it. It just top track Red Sector A, bottom track Red Lenses.
Okay.
Same bottom track. I'll throw that out there already.
This was my second to last.
Okay.
I gave it 2 5s. My top track was The Body Electric. My bottom track was Enemy Within. There's not much I have to say about it.
Well, Red Lenses and The Enemy Within were my only 4s on the album. They got 6 5s from me. This was my runner-up. My top track was After Image. I think what it is about this is it's the sound that I'm used to having in my life with something like Dream Theater. Mm-hmm. I see where it comes from now.
Yeah.
I know where its roots are. You could never tie it to Floyd in my head, but this, I see it now.
Yeah.
These 2 albums that were the 80s albums right here, they remind me of, if like someone mixed Dire Straits with Mike and the Mechanics.
Yes.
That's what is going on in my head when I'm listening, and I thought this was phenomenal. When this came on, I mean, I didn't know I was going to get as much good out of Rush as I was already getting, But when this came on, I thought, okay, here's where people like me should start. I am officially a Rush fan.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, that's all I have to say about that album.
Well, welcome to the club.
Yeah.
What was the next album, or the last album that we covered?
Last album, Power Windows, and that title right there says it all. 1985. 1985, the year I was married.
Got married.
Yes, ma'am. Obviously, my number 1 album, along with somebody else, if I've been following them over there.
This is my top album.
For obvious reasons. I mean, I've only got 3 5s. I could have easily gone with more, but it's just everything that they do in here. If you play this in a decent sound system, you're going to hear different sounds coming from every direction, and it's just the fact that these 3 can do what they've done. Mm-hmm. One of these songs, "Time Stands Still," I believe it was on this one. His little female,
unaccredited vocals, right?
Yeah, unaccredited. She came from Till Tuesday. Amy something or another. I can't even remember her last name. Amy Mann, I believe it is.
That sounds accurate.
Yeah.
Sounds like a name.
Amy Mann. Yeah, does it?
I know an Amy man, but that's
Yeah, she's the one that sings the the female parts in that. And I can't say anything bad about Power Windows. Top track, Manhattan Project. Bottom track, Middletown Dreams. Manhattan Project. They tell stories. About a bomb. About this, about that.
Bad bomb.
Yeah, it's. I'm sorry, I love Rush. And
We're not shaming you for loving Rush. That's the whole reason why we do we do this podcast, is to talk to people that are passionate about music the way that we are.
I can split this in two sections. The early stuff, I was wild, crazy, and y'all know,
yeah.
I did a lot of crazy shit back when I was younger. And some of your listeners probably do.
And maybe those later albums, I came along and toned it down.
That's exactly what happened. The 80s albums, got married, started having family, raising family, coasting, happy, and that's what the last two albums are for me, are happy.
This is your
peace of
life
mind.
in a nutshell.
Yes, yeah, it's
And what never goes away, even though these are two rather different sounds, is the complexity stays there.
Oh yes,
the thoughtfulness of the lyricism, which their drummer is their lyricist, which is another mind-boggling fact.
You don't get that very often.
So good. It reminds me a lot of, I know Queensryche did plenty of political things or thoughtful pieces, that sort of thing. But the style reminds me more of Bernie Taupin, Elton John's lyricist.
Yeah.
When this album started out, I thought Grace Under Pressure is going to top it. And Big Money never really grew on me as much as I wanted it to.
Yep.
It kept making me think about Dire Straits, Money for Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It's not a negative. I still gave the song a 4. I actually gave no 3s to this artist. It was all 4s and 5s, and everything beyond that first track, all 5s. Top track was Middletown Dreams. I gave it 7 5s, and this was my top album.
This was my runner-up, so I did appreciate this album. I gave it 2 5s. My bottom track was Manhattan Project. No, I'm kidding. Manhattan Project was my top. Manhattan Project was my top. I just wanted to see if I'd get a reaction.
Somebody gonna drop a bomb on you.
I'm used to it. I'm over here just suppress, let her say it.
My bottom track, talk about suppression, was Middletown Dreams.
Okay.
So
nobody agrees with me on Middletown Dreams, but that's
it's
okay.
All right. You're floating on your own island over there.
Yeah.
But yes, Manhattan Project was my favorite. Just that there was an element of, it had the 80s electric sound, but there was also like a whimsicalness to it that reminded me a lot of Bowie, which maybe you guys don't agree, but with the whimsicalness and experimentation of this album and the electric inspiration, it did something for me that Grace Under Pressure didn't.
Which is interesting because as you talk, it's obvious you have no idea about the historicity of what's being discussed in some of this music. And even the title of the album, Power Windows, it's not talking about power windows on electric vehicles.
Yeah.
It's talking about power and its ability to corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing their change, their sound change, it actually created static in the band. Alex Lifeson was kind of opposed to it because it took some of his raw guitar out and replaced it with keyboards and the electric sound and of course Geddy Lee's your ringmaster. However, let's go back to Neil Peart. Neil Peart, they didn't realize when they brought him in just exactly what they had in him. They found out when they were on tour with Kiss. And even Gene Simmons himself says, the band is phenomenal, but as a group, they're deadbeats. After a concert, they go back to the hotel and watch TV, and here we are, trashing the place. And,
and when compared.
So, but Neil Peart read. He was a big-time book reader, and Geddy Lee saw that, and he thought, I bet he can write some songs. And that's where his songwriting came into play, and it's a good thing he did because he,
a lot.
Neil Peart turned out to be the heart of that band.
A lot of songwriters have a different level of intelligence, and a lot of them do like to read books.
you know, and you say that he was also the most reclusive of the three. So, you know.
So are we saying Neil Peart and Prince could have been friends? I wonder
They
if they're...
couldn't have because they were reclusive. They didn't want nothing to do
Yeah.
with
Oh, that's
anybody.
true. I was going to say, I wonder if their paths ever crossed. That
And
would
you
have been
know, and
interesting.
they all three enjoyed success up until, I guess, the Test for Echo album. That's Neil Peart's first album back since after losing his daughter and wife in the same year, which was I mean, how do you recover from something like that?
Act like it's normal.
He got on his motorcycle and he rode from Canada to Central America and back. You know, and it took a year. You took 2 years, and that tour, that Test for Echo tour, when he came back, got the demons. He was able to release the demons. Matter of fact, he even went to a guru. A guy this renowned on the drums went to a guru to learn more, and did learn more.
Nice.
You know, so you know that just goes to show you the kind of guy Neil Peart was.
Yeah.
You know, never thought he was better or the best, or you know, always thought that he had room to learn, and he did, and he got better.
That's the way to be.
But you know,
So moving on to our questionnaire portion about Rush, what would y'all say is the weirdest track produced or contributed by Rush?
I'm gonna have to go with Tears.
Okay.
Only because it's so slow. It's not you know, it's different.
Yeah.
And that's
it's
what
so
I appreciated
different.
about it.
I figured that's what would get you.
I said the Cygnus.
X1.
Mm-hmm. That one.
2 Hemispheres.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. That's my weirdest track. What's your, Shane?
Mine was Lessons. It just felt like something written by Boston. It was rather mainstream for that point in their career.
And what about best title?
The Trees or Mystic Rhythms. I couldn't really choose between those two.
Tom Sawyer. That song, that was the hook for me, you know.
I said The Body Electric, although I will say when I think of The Body Electric,
it was Lana.
Yeah.
Or Lana.
Lana Del Rey. Anal Del Rey. Lana Del Rey. Is her song Body Electric, or does she just say it? Is the title of her song The Body Electric?
It's Body Electric.
Okay.
But she says The Body Electric.
Okay.
It's not the same song.
Yeah, no, it's not.
I don't actually think that's where she takes her cue from.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong.
What's the worst title?
Worst was Cygnus X1 Book 2 Hemispheres.
Same.
I would have called it The Sphere.
Yeah. What Sunday Driver? I don't know. Anything but that. The hell is Cygnus X1?
Don't question their methods.
You know, it's got to be something Canadian.
I'm sure there's something to it. But
so, yeah.
I said Something for Nothing is my worst title. What I would have used instead is Not Dire Straits.
Nice.
What would you say their strongest element is?
A seemingly bottomless well of dynamism. These people are talented. I genuinely don't understand how 3 people produce this sound.
You know, evidently that's unexplainable. Signatures, the way they can move their music around and take you from one place to a totally different place for a few minutes and then bring you back around to the same place you were at and it's, you know, make it, I'm with you. And evidently everyone else is, because these guys still have not gotten the notoriety that they deserve.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they ever will, but you know,
I think I understand why, and
I think the music industry doesn't know where to place them.
Yeah,
you know, it just what are they?
Mm-hmm.
You know, but when you listen to them, you know, you can't help but love them.
Yeah.
So it's their signatures, man, and the way they just their music. It just sings to me.
Yeah.
I said their strongest element was storytelling, instrumental elements, especially the keyboard and drums. I appreciated what? You're licking your lips like you
I
want to
didn't
say
say
something.
anything. My lips were just dry. I was
Okay.
licking them. I don't know.
I didn't appreciate the vocals as much as I probably should.
That's interesting.
So, anyway.
Geddy Lee is his own voice.
I know it's extreme. He's extremely recognizable. I just think when you think of Rush, to me at least, I don't think of the vocals.
Well,
That's not what stands
their
out to
music
me.
is most of theirs, most of them. However, I think his latter stuff is easier on the ear than his earlier stuff as far as vocals go.
Okay.
And
To
I'm
me.
Queensryche Jeff Tate, so I'm used to people not liking a voice that I like, and I absolutely love his voice.
I do too. I mean, I just, I knew that the way he sang early on, he wouldn't be able to carry that throughout his whole career.
You can't.
Yeah.
And it's a smart business move to be able to.
Well, he changed when the whole album.
To shift the sound.
Yeah,
yes, and to be able to do that and still be,
Had he done that in moving
successful,
pictures, I think that there would be a problem.
That was their last Raw album to me before they started.
So did you already give us your weakest element? Is that what that was?
No, I gave my strongest element. My weakest element is some songs are too long.
Yeah.
And they can go overboard with their storytelling.
All right.
You?
So favorite element and least favorite element at the same time.
I
get it.
It's kind of the same thing with Prince. Like I said, when he over experiments, that can be a weak element. But I do like the way that he does take the chance with experimenting.
It's like if you've ever read Tolkien or like Clan of the Cave Bear.
Yeah.
Great stories, but sometimes that world building is just a tad much.
Yeah.
And I'm the same, however, I can tolerate 6 minute, 8, 10 minute songs, but when you get to 20 minutes long, it's like, it just.
He don't do anything for 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's just, I'm already snoring,
Oh.
It's a little too long.
I will say in Rush's favor, and this surprised me, it wasn't just my wanting to take the music seriously because you were coming on as a guest, but
right.
There are times when Floyd's epics,
yeah,
I don't listen to them all the way through. There
Right.
are some that I've never heard all the way through because it just got tired.
Yeah.
I didn't want to finish.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to these albums. It's one of the only times in the show so far that I've listened consistently to
Right.
songs from start to finish,
Mm-hmm.
even when I went back to try and cement my thoughts on the albums as a whole, even the epics I was listening to from start to finish. If I had to give a weakest element, I would say it's occasionally the guitar mixing, especially early on. I don't think it's Alex's guitar playing. I think it's the way it's mixed to have this classic rock that has a really high treble, old phone sound. It's
Yes.
more in the background.
Yes.
And I think they did that because he does a lot of strumming,
Yes.
a lot of complex strumming,
Yes.
and they didn't know where to put that in the mix at the time.
He does have a signature sound,
Yeah.
or especially early on.
Yes.
Now, when he got into his later stuff, he could foot pedal a lot of crap,
Yeah.
and move his sound around. But back then, I know the sound you're talking about. And if you just heard somebody playing guitar, you could tell it was him if
Yep.
it was him playing. So
Well,
I see what you're saying.
Speaking of sounds, our next question is, who do you think they sound like?
Hmm.
And I'm really curious to see what you guys might have said.
You know what I said.
Nobody sounds like Rush.
Nobody.
Okay.
Shane?
My answer was if most big rock names from the 70s and 80s were doing prog, and I want to go a little deeper if I can find my notes here. So I already talked about Mashing, Dire Straits, and Mike and the Mechanics, but I would say if one of the things that I like most about their sound is their darker moments.
Uh-huh.
It can feel very similar to Blue Oyster Cult's Don't Fear the Reaper,
Mhm.
obviously with stronger tinges of prog.
Mm-hmm.
But if you like Pink Floyd, The Who, Led Zeppelin, Dream Theater, Styx, Steve Miller Band, you'll find a lot to love in Rush, but none of those bands are Rush.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I said Jefferson Airplane for the way.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Exactly. That's the one that I thought you would be interested in. It's the style of singing.
Okay.
Queensryche, Styx, yes, Pink Floyd, and Bowie.
There's a lot there.
If I had somebody that I could relate to Rush with, it would probably I would have to lean towards Pink Floyd
Yeah.
because if they're and I hate to say this.
Are you looking behind you like someone's there?
Because
Someone will be eventually, I'm
a
guessing.
lot of this Rush, I was heavily influenced.
Yeah.
Passage to Bangkok. that song's about smoking weed.
Yep.
So and as a teenager, and Pink
You
Floyd.
smoked weed as a teen?
Don't tell your mother.
Okay. God,
Secrets.
my whole perception has changed so much about you.
But
I feel right now like I've smoked way too much weed. I was stone sober listening to all this, by the way, and I still got that same spacey vibe
You
that
got
I remember.
that rush high.
Because Floyd was my shit, what you're talking about.
see, and that's where I'm going with that because Floyd's mine. I remember clearly an episode at the trailer park.
An episode.
Yes, an episode trying to go to sleep one night, and Pink Floyd came on.
Did you see
and it was,
lizards on the wall?
No, my
Okay.
damn doors were breathing and shit.
You're talking about one of these days.
Yes.
That's what came to mind earlier. When you were talking about
devil
the
started
subliminal
talking
message.
down. Like, what the hell is this? But anyway, yeah, it's all of this has wonderful memories.
We
you
can
know.
tell. You sound
And
very
of course,
heartfelt.
the last two, they have memories of y'all and your mother and just happiness. Of course, the '80s were.
And then
happy,
we all
know.
grew up, and some of that happiness.
Yeah,
faded.
well, I don't know about happiness faded. It's just when you age, and y'all are going to figure this out. It
Oh
just
my God! I
things
tried to make a
change.
joke out of it. You're trying to be philosophical.
Oh God!
All right, moving on. When to listen, and how does the music make you feel?
I can listen to Rush anytime. This is believe it or not, to me, it's a family friendly. They're not explicit. They're not, anybody can listen to this,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes me feel euphoric. It just puts me in a different place.
Okay.
Yeah.
I said like I'm on a quest or sitting in the back of the white truck at age 9.
There you go.
Yeah.
The
Power windows blowing out the damn truck.
The liner on the top of the truck's just hanging on for dear life.
Oh, shit.
On our way to Denton or Austin.
I
Shane?
love it.
I hated all the driving.
Yeah.
When I would listen to this music is also how it makes me feel. It would be when you feel like contemplating the nature of your existence, which is quite often for me. I like music that it's making me feel something on an emotional level that's not necessarily related to love or sex or even drugs in a lot of places. It's just good because it's forcing you to reflect on what you are, why you are. I'm getting way out
No,
here.
you're fine.
It's a feeling of well-being.
My question
Yeah.
to you was, did you have a shooting star moment?
Yeah.
Oh, someone just got paid.
I swear I turned that off.
Yeah, this was definitely, and I didn't expect it. I felt like it was creeping up on me as I went through those first 3 albums, because you can listen to a lot of early Floyd and never necessarily catch the wave that I caught with Floyd, with like The Wall,
Yeah.
and that era. But
Yeah.
if you're earlier in their work, you might not catch that same vibe. It wouldn't hook you the same way. But listening to these first 3 albums, it was slowly creeping on me. Like, I'm enjoying this more than I was anticipating. And then you hit Grace Under Pressure and Power Windows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a shooting star moment. And I did actually have a lot of that with Prince too. So,
Okay, good, because I was going to say, it sounds like you're going to be leaning more towards one artist than another, but we'll get into that
yeah.
in a little bit. What was your first or best experience with this artist?
My first was hearing the greatest hits. What's that? The Spirit of Radio?
Yes.
Isn't that what that is? I was younger. I breezed through it, and all I remember thinking is Tom Sawyer for the win. And I think that touches on some of why I think this group hasn't caught more people. It's because I think a lot of people truly believe if you've heard Tom Sawyer, you've heard the best of the best, and there's no need to hear much more. And goddamn was I wrong about that. I really think that Greatest Hits was probably a mistake for this group for that reason.
Yeah, it confined them to a Greatest Hits album, and there's so much more out there that people do not take the time to listen to. What would you say, Dad?
My first or best experience? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
My first experience, obviously, was Moving Pictures. And then when I heard Moving Pictures, I had to backtrack down, to Caress of Steel, Fly By Night.
So that Moving Pictures album made you want to discover where Rush came from?
Yes.
Made you dive in more?
That album had me hooked on the sound of Rush, and I grew with Rush as they moved forward.
Okay.
But I had to, at that point, I was looking back, Working Man.
Mm-hmm.
When Working Man was actually the first single that came into the United States, it played on an Ohio radio station, and people lost their mind.
Yeah.
They were still in Canada.
Yeah.
And they were like, Led Zeppelin got a new album out. No, it's no,
Yeah, not Zeppelin.
Yeah, this is Rush. These Canadians. But anyway, I learned all about their past
Mm-hmm.
and then moved on with them. And I mean, like I said, I was hooked with moving pictures, and I'm glad that I didn't leave them.
You said that was your first experience. Would you also say that was your best experience with them? Is discovering them for the first time?
My best experience was sitting at the Cotton Bowl.
With no shoes.
June the 9th, 1984.
Okay.
Severely medicated. I don't know how I got home, but I remember
You walked.
the green. No, because I saw bunny rabbits in the road. But anyway, I saw green laser lights everywhere shooting out of the cotton bowl.
Y'all have to watch the Stoned Age.
Yeah.
Y'all should
I
sit
know, I
down
was
together
gonna watch it
and
this
watch
week.
this shit.
I lived it, buddy.
Oh, I know you did.
I lived it, and it was fun too. But
Who are you kidding? You're still living this life.
I'm trying. I
still living
refuse
this
to
life.
let go. I refuse to grow old. I'm getting old, but in my heart,
you will never
I
be
do
old.
not want to grow old.
You'll never
So,
be old. You don't
okay.
have anything to worry about. Trust me.
Peter Pan, watch out.
Yeah. I said my dad in going on drives is my first and best experience with this artist. Who would you like them to collaborate with? Cover what song? Let's get it out of the way now, Dad. Who would you like them to collaborate with? Rip it off.
And I can't.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Because they're not going to play again.
Who makes the band, in your
Neil
opinion?
Peart. Neil Peart, when Neil Peart passed, I read an article just the other day that Alex Lifeson put out, and I don't know if they were trying to get in the studio and do something, but it's just not. He cannot be inspired without Neil Peart. Neil Peart was their heart and soul, and Getty and Alex both. They know, let's leave it where it's at.
And Neil Peart died at 67 from brain cancer, right?
No.
Are we getting into a conspiracy?
No. Neil Peart was he died of depression. His suicide.
Oh.
He had severe depression.
That is not what they listed he died from.
Well, I'm sorry, but and with everything, look at Robin Williams.
That's true.
He was reclusive.
Mm-hmm.
He battled depression,
Mm-hmm.
and when he lost his wife and his daughter, that was his family.
Yeah.
So
you don't think he had a reason to keep going?
I honestly,
this is not getting into a discussion about depression.
It's fine. I'm gonna sit on the outskirts of this one.
I think he did. Boy. I mean, I thought everything was good with the R40 tour and everything, but it just goes to show you. I thought Robin Williams was perfect.
They say the funniest people,
but now
and the happiest people are like that.
I don't want to stick my big ass foot in my mouth, but I'm almost positive it was suicide because it was so sudden. Nobody knew nothing about it until it happened, until the after fact. I could be wrong.
Write us on a new one of our
He
social
could have been
media.
hiding because he was reclusive. He could have been hiding an illness for a long time. But the fact is,
didn't Bowie do that?
Bowie
was sick.
Yes.
Nobody knew about it.
Rush will not. You'll never see them.
Well, I said the same thing. I said rest in peace, Neil Peart.
Yeah.
They could make music, but it wouldn't be the same.
It won't.
I went with wishful thinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
For another Canadian band that I enjoy. Just because I thought it'd probably be easy to make it happen. That would have been April Wine. They do I'm on
Love
fire
'em.
for you, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Among a lot of other things.
Yeah.
What I would want them to cover, or what I would want Rush to cover specifically, is a song from Dream Theater's debut album, which you can't hear on Spotify. The song is called A Fortune and Lies. And I'll throw it on YouTube mentions because that's the only place you can actually hear it. You can hear a live version on Spotify, but I'm not crazy about the live.
What makes this artist seem unique?
The constant drum grooves, complex bass, deep lyricism, and standout vocalist. I could say good things about Alex's guitar work too, and they deserve to be there. But I want to hear more of what this group brings to the table before I can cement the fact that I'm really, really appreciative of his guitar work as well.
I said their storytelling ability and matching melodies.
It's just their all around sound and what they can accomplish, just the three of them. There will be people that may disagree with me, but
Well, there will be. Trust me.
honestly, I feel like Neil Peart was the best drummer out there, hands down.
I'm pretty sure in a past book that you created, Shane, you had us put together our dream bands.
Yeah.
Neil Peart was my drummer. And I think that was like
Geddy Lee,
7 years ago.
As hard as he works, just listen to some of his bass playing while he's playing keyboards and singing.
Yep.
It just, he's shredding that bass at times. I mean, you can clearly hear it. And of course, Alex is over there doing his thing. How do you do that for how many years?
And there are examples in music of people multitasking. You take Chevelle, they're a 3-person group where one of their musicians is also singing at the same time. And I think it's Genesis, where Collins was drumming
Yes.
and singing at the same time.
Yes, In the Air Tonight.
And I know drumming is something I could never do. I could probably pick up any other instrument and figure it out, but drums baffles me. That having been said, I still do not understand how this works live. I don't understand how Geddy Lee is doing what he's doing in any capacity and still doing something else.
I hate
It's
the
wild.
fact that you've never seen them live.
And he never will.
Because
I could watch some live music.
Well,
I just
yeah.
haven't.
But it's not
because
the
their
same.
live sound, it's almost studio-like.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do.
I will say this. He proved me wrong this week. Exit Stage Left, I did not think was a live album because I asked him, why the hell didn't you put Exit Stage Left in your choices? And he so lovingly informed me that that is a live album. I didn't put 2 and 2 together because it sounds just the same.
Okay.
So, Exit Stage Left is a live album.
And they put together a lot of live compilations after they release a album because I guess their sound is so good live.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Texas Jam was in an outdoor. It was in a stadium.
Mhm.
It wasn't indoors.
You didn't get that sound reverberating.
Yes.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, this band is phenomenal to me.
Which leads to our next question. How could this artist be most successful in the future?
And you know the answer to that. Their future is done.
You wouldn't even like to hear anything else that the band has to offer without Neil Peart.
Not really.
Okay.
Do you have an answer?
I don't.
Okay. Well, I'm still holding out hope because I don't think this band has gotten a fair shake by most people. I think if they want the most exposure for what they've done in the past, I'd recommend that Alex continues to show up in Trailer Park Boys.
With bubbles.
Yeah, it has genuinely sparked my interest.
Yeah.
And he even did a song. He was a guest, Alex was, on a song called Who's Got Your Belly by Bubbles and the Shit Rockers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and that goes to show you how the other two are so down to earth.
Yeah.
I mean, they are. They open up to their fans, and they're, if they got time for, they go to cafes and diners, just by themselves, and if they're gonna write an autograph or two, they've got no problems with that.
Yeah.
So,
And it's obvious seeing them on the or seeing Alex on the Trailer Park Boys anyway.
but I think out of respect for the one person that helped them get where they are as far as fame, I don't think they're going to do anything.
Yeah, and I don't
just
disagree
don't.
that's what they should do. I just hope that more people do come around to giving different parts of their discography a chance.
Mhm.
And I think making cameos here and there.
Yeah,
Might pique
that'd be
people's
cool.
interest.
Yeah.
Which they have a very large discography, and I believe they're going back in the jar.
Have you seen before? I think it's before you ever know that one of the members is actually going to be on Trailer Park Boys. The 3 main characters from Trailer Park Boys, they put a video together trying to mimic Closer to the Heart. It's one of the
have
funniest things I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah, I'll try to find a video and throw it
please
up.
tell
so
me
you
you're going
can
to put it
show
on
'em.
YouTube
Yeah.
or YouTube playlist.
That's funny.
Who would you recommend this artist to and why?
Most anyone. It's just knowing where to start them.
Everyone that's into rock and roll or into music, period, because it's not really a rock and roll. The older stuff, yes. The newer, the latter stuff, man, it's just a feeling of, I don't know, it's just well-being. You know, it just puts you in a place to where, you know, everything's good.
Yeah.
It will be good.
Yeah.
You know. So,
I said anyone wanting to appreciate where a lot of different creative sounds in music come from. This is prog rock.
yeah.
They call it prog rock for a reason.
Yeah.
Is there anything else, not you, Dad, is there anything else that you would like to discuss as far as Rush?
No, I think I pretty much got everything I needed to say out of the way.
Same for me. Dad, is there anything else you would like to mention about Rush?
You do hear, I don't know if you've noticed it listening to them, but you hear Oriental influence.
Especially in Bangkok.
Okay. Do you hear the Jamaican influence
Mm,
in some of their stuff?
I hear a lot of world sound.
Mm-hmm.
They got a lot of Jamaican influence too, and I think that comes from Neil Peart as well, and what he was influenced by. But yeah, if they hadn't decided to, unfortunately for John Rutsey, let him go, because he was a decent drummer in his own right. He was drumming on Working Man.
Okay.
That was his album, his last album. But the diabetes and the drinking, he would not make it through a tour, and they knew that, and that's why they let him go. But and Neil Peart, he was in a band called J.R. Flood
Okay.
in '74 when they picked him up.
I wondered if there were any related acts.
Yeah, he was with J.R. Flood, and I don't know squat about
Haven't
those
heard 'em.
guys.
Yeah.
But,
Now you're going to have to.
I guess so, but anyway, they brought him in, and they thought he was a little odd when they first brought him in. Number one, he had short hair.
Right.
So, I assume Rush took it this week for you.
Obviously, I mean, without even looking. But yes, if you want to know my total average,
Sure. Compared to Prince?
Compared to Prince, Prince got I don't even know what Prince got, a 2.9 with only 4 5s.
Okay.
However, one of my favorite bands only got a 3.8 with
Mhm.
11 5s.
Mm-hmm.
But that being
Rush
said,
definitely took it for you.
yes. But that being said, it's
Oh, no, sir.
Yeah.
I'm going last.
No, you're not.
What?
No, you're not.
All right.
Out with it.
The band that took it this week for me was Rush. I felt that on a day-to-day basis, I would listen to Prince more. But due to the amount of songs and how short the albums were for Rush, Rush ultimately won it for me this week, which in a way pissed me off a little bit because Prince didn't have much of a fighting chance as far as our next round of Battle of the Bands. But with that being said, I am not disappointed that Rush took it for me this week. And that is my gift to you, to tell you thank you, and you were right.
Muchas gracias.
I did what I always do. I dropped the biases at the door and tried to just go with my honest feelings.
Mm-hmm.
We talked last week about how we might have a real fight on our hands this week. I didn't even know, because I rated Prince early in the week and waited, slowly worked through Rush. I didn't know how serious that was. My 5s for these artists tied. So I actually had a tie among 5s between Rush and Prince. Prince had a higher purchase value. Rush had a higher average. And I got thinking about the fact that Prince had more tracks. He had more 3s or lower ratings for me. So my winner wound up being Rush. And I would say the opposite. I like the Prince music. I could see myself listening to a lot of it. This was a really great week. But I will be listening to Rush much more often. than the Prince material.
So, thank you for choosing Rush.
You're very welcome.
It took us on both a journey, but I was very pleasantly surprised. I was a little bitter about it to begin with, but this week was a very hard week for me.
If you hadn't chosen Sign of the Times, if you'd gone with something, and I haven't listened to Prince's work, but if there's something else there that is a little more musically consistent, maybe something that was still with the group, then he may have easily taken the win for me, and that would have just been on number of tracks.
Well,
again,
it's funny that you say that because I also went and looked up his top critically acclaimed albums. Sign of the Times was 2.
I know.
So that's the reason why it got chosen.
The critics love that artful fart sniffing, I'm telling you.
I know.
Yeah.
So Rush takes it for everybody this week.
That's another thing, is Rush was a great example of a group that takes chances and gets it right more than they get it wrong. And I don't know what it is, but they did a better job than Prince.
Here's one thing you got to look forward to with Rush. They still have yet to make it into the Hall of Fame. The music industry does not really do justice to who needs to be in there and who doesn't.
The people hosting, or not hosting, but the people running a lot of that and judging a lot of that, they're trying to stay relevant with a younger crowd.
Right.
So they do a bad job of pulling those classic artists.
Yeah, see.
That's the thing that surprised me the
most. I'll give Prince every kudo in the world. Prince is no slouch. But just for me,
I know.
Rush is, Rush. That's not to say I won't listen to Prince. I do listen to Prince. But I find myself in the car more than laying around the house. So, Rush is a driving music to me.
You told us. You told us this week.
Great week.
Yeah. It was a great week. I found this week probably to be a way easier listening week than in some of the weeks past.
Yeah.
So I actually took a lot of joy with both artists getting through them. And they were easy listens too. Gotta love artists that are easy listens. So to continue the rest of our guest questions, what is your guilty pleasure artist?
Pink Floyd.
All right. I don't think we need an explanation there.
No, you do not.
I need it.
You need it?
I need it.
He need it.
Guilty pleasure artist?
Yes, sirree. I'll tell you one thing. One song that comes to mind. What's the one with the two females that do the...
Great Gig in the Sky.
Great Gig in the Sky.
No, man. Throw that in there and get to slapping cheeks.
Slapping cheeks again to it.
To Great Gig in the Sky?
Sure. And
look at her face.
Look at her long one.
I will never listen to that song the same way again.
I don't give a damn. What's that long 13-piece?
Shine On.
Yes.
Crazy Diamond.
Yes. Lots of time there.
Oh yeah.
You could go on and on. There's Flight of the Albatross.
And you take guilt in listening to this artist?
I thought when he said it that maybe it was related to having grown up with his brother.
Wait a minute. Maybe we're talking your guilty pleasure.
Yeah, something that you listen to and take pleasure in, but to other people...
You might be embarrassed that you're listening to
no.
it.
See, we're way off track then. That's what I...
Like, I used to say that the Thong Song by Cisco was my guilty pleasure song. It's not anymore.
Then we'll scratch that because
no.
I'm not ashamed of Pink Floyd by no means to anybody.
Well, you're not supposed to be, but would other people shame you?
No.
What's an artist that other people would shame you for listening to?
No, I misread your question there.
Is there any artist that people would shame you for listening to?
Yeah, we could get into some country artists that
spit some out. Come on, rapid fire.
I don't know, Tim McGraw.
I wouldn't consider that guilty pleasure.
Your mother hates country.
Yeah,
Mom.
You've got to look at his environment.
Okay, yeah. Mom.
And who am I with 99% of the time?
Mom.
Okay. So if I throw country music on, I get these looks like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
All right.
What artist do you refuse to listen to?
By God, I refuse. Believe it or not, there's one that I won't listen to, at least one. And the one that really just chaps my ass is Tiny Tim. I won't listen to that son bitch for shit.
I don't know what we're talking about. I'm going to have to listen to this
Logan loves Tiny Tim.
Oh my God, what a flake.
He does
Is this newer music?
No. It's old, and it's your best example of a bad musician.
Okay.
Tiptoe through the window. Yeah.
Yes.
You've
That's
never heard
it.
Hey, that's how he sings.
Wow.
With a ukulele.
He looks like Weird Al with a ukulele.
Yes.
And he sings that. Have you ever seen
ridiculous. God,
Yeah, ridiculous is my.
I'm sorry to all you Tiny Tim fans out there.
I don't think he has very many.
Ridiculous is my jam. This might be something.
Yeah. Tiptoe Through the Tulips is one that you might like, and he also does the song for the first episode of SpongeBob. So there you go.
Huh.
What is your favorite music video?
Favorite music video? I've got a few of them.
Okay.
Back in the day, Grateful Dead's Touch of Grey.
Okay.
Reminds me of one with the dog running off the leg bone and shit from the drummer and all that, Dire Straits, Money for Nothing.
That's a good one.
It was a decent one. Tool. I love the claymation Tool. I love them. Schism, Anema, all of those. I love them.
Where was he on our Tool episode?
I don't know.
Well, he was sitting at home listening. But I do. I really, that takes me somewhere. It's, different.
Different.
So, anyway.
What's your favorite live album?
Favorite live album, only because I had the CD, AC/DC Live at Donningham. Now, granted, it was Brian Johnson, which I'm not knocking him, but I love me some Bon Scott too. But AC/DC,
wasn't he the singer for Build Me Up Buttercup? Wasn't he in that group?
The Valentines, I believe it was.
Yeah.
The
original singer for AC/DC.
He was a backup. No, he was a backup singer. He wasn't the lead. He was. Bon Scott was a backup singer to Why Don't You Feel?
That would have. I would never have known that or guessed that in a million years.
And I was wrong. Bon Scott was not the original singer.
Bon Scott was more of an entertainer than he was. I mean, he was a musician. He was a singer, but he could entertain you while singing on stage.
They were entertaining.
Brian Johnson is not so much the Bon Scott the entertainer,
Right. Well, Bon Scott made the band.
Yes.
What they are with his
definitely.
voice.
There's no
his
telling.
signature voice.
Yes.
You can definitely pick them apart.
Yep.
In your opinion, what makes for a bad musician?
The inability to experiment, being closed-minded, sticking to just one sound and basing your career off one sound, that's, I don't know.
I can agree with that.
You got to be able to play around with stuff, and
like your boy Beck.
I love it. I
know.
Love that guy. And that's another one with some badass videos. Losers, decent. But if you want to watch a good Beck video, Heart Like a Drum, I believe it is, off Morning Phase.
You want to hear a transition in Beck's sound, go listen to Loser and then turn right around and listen to Deborah. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
So, anyway. So that ends the guest questions portion. I'm going to jump into finishing out my top 10 list.
That's fine.
Okay. So, my next choice for you that songs remind me of you is A Million Miles Away by the Plimsolls. I could have easily chosen Eyes of a Stranger by the Payolas, but this ultimately wins for me because I think you like this song more. This is from the Valley Girl soundtrack. This is the song that plays when they're in the bar and they kind of connect for the first time. So that's why A Million Miles Away by the Plimsolls makes my list. It's also a really good song. Next choice is exactly where I think Shane and I get doses of our trolliness from. It's Peekaboo by Devo.
God damn. I wondered when that was going to show up in this podcast.
Oh.
Most people know Devo for Whip It. You have not heard the pure fuckery until you've listened to Peekaboo, or better yet, go watch the music video.
Yes. Peekaboo or Mongoloid, either one.
Mongoloid too, but Peekaboo is ultimately the one that reminds me of you.
Peekaboo is the best video they've got out there.
And people joke on Whip It a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go play you some Guitar Hero on drums. Mm-hmm. Turn that shit on Expert Plus. Good luck.
Yeah. So Peekaboo by Devo.
Sweet.
Next choice for songs that remind me of you is Carrying Your Love With Me by George Strait.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up listening to you sing this song. And you are a very gifted country singer.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
I often would say that I thought that you should write and make country music. And if there's anybody that has opened my eyes to my appreciation for country music, it has been you. And I grew up saying that I didn't like country. I was very, very wrong. I do like a lot of country, and most of it always ties back to you. So,
Well, thank you, ma'am.
you're welcome. Last pick. You know this. You can agree with this, Shane.
You know this.
You know this. I've said this before. It is and always will be Father and Son by Cat Stevens. To the man that without him and his influence, a very large part of Rated Radio would not be possible. Thank you for continuing to make the magic we create fathomable, and know that as we grow, we continue to spread your words to the world and infect those to the best type of virus. This is our gift to you, and thank you for always continuing to be the human being that we and the world has needed.
You look away when you say that. You don't want to get emotional.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much. Somebody's going to have to carry this on when I'm gone. You know that, right?
Yeah, we know.
Okay. All right.
We're well aware.
Y'all keep up the good work.
So,
That's kind of why we're here.
and like I said, you're a big part of what makes Rated Radio. So,
Rock and roll.
as a thank you for being our second guest,
I get a present.
we wanted to make it official
I'll be dog.
and give you.
I'm going to wear this every day. It's a shirt, y'all. Y'all can't see that out there. My 2 fans are looking, though.
Give you your first official Rated Radio merchandise.
I'm going to cherish this. I ain't even going to wear it. I'm going to hang it up.
It's heavy duty, too, so I think it'll
It
last.
is. It is.
I thought she just starched the shit out of it.
No, I would recommend washing it and stretching it out a little bit first.
Nice.
Yeah, the material was rather tight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being on.
I guess I passed the test if I got a shirt from it.
Yeah, you passed the test.
Oh, yeah.
We were fully anticipating not giving that to you.
Well, I'm glad you did.
We're glad that you took the time to come on. Your appearance has been long awaited, and we hope to see you in the future.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime. I like taking a break from the nervous hospital. They let me out just so I could do this.
Well, we better get you back soon then.
Yes, ma'am. It's almost lunchtime.
We're getting hungry. Is that
Yeah,
what's
I think
going on?
so.
All right. Anything left to add? If not, we will go ahead and draw for next week's second artist. The first one will be Lana Del Rey.
Anal Del Rey.
Anal Del Rey.
Eric, you want to do the honors?
Yeah.
I'll do it.
All right.
I like sticking my
You
hand
can take
in
the whole
places.
thing if you need to. Just grab something
don't
out of
look.
there and be good.
No looking.
I can't read that small
Cheating.
stuff anyway.
Lana Del Rey against.
Lana Del Rey. Yeah.
Oh.
Lana Del Rey against Limp Biscuit.
Okay.
Yes.
Chocolate starfish.
It's going to be quite a week.
Speaking of starfish. All right. So next week is going to be Lana Del Rey against Limp Bizkit.
It was recommended by Katie, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for
again.
the recommendation.
Thanks again. If that's it,
I reckon that's it.
all right. Time to get you back to the nervous hospital.
Yeah, my voice is about gone anyway, so.
All right. Well,
Yes,
that's gonna do it for this week. Come find us online and let us know what you want to hear next, because it's what you choose to share that ultimately makes your melody unforgettable. You can email us at rated_radio@yahoo.com. And with that, we're gone again until next time.
Rock and roll.
Fill your world with music.